Welcome to the Champions of Active Women podcast. In each episode, we share stories and experiences of active female role models and individuals who support the active pursuits of girls and women. Our goal is to encourage and inspire girls and women to be active for a lifetime, to reach their goals, and to break new barriers in sport and life. This podcast is brought to you by the Active Women's Health Initiative in the Sports Medicine Research Institute at the University of Kentucky. The mission of the Active Women's Health Initiative is to optimize health and promote physical activity and wellness for girls and women across the lifespan. If you enjoy this podcast, you can make a donation to the Active Women's Health Initiative at uky.networkforgood.com. Your contribution helps us empower all girls and women to find their inner athlete and become athletes for life. Today, I'm joined by Jess Hogan, who is the director for the Lexington Football Club Girls Academy and owner of Xponent Sports Performance. Jess earned a scholarship to play soccer at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, where she earned a bachelor's degree in animal science. Jess played with the U19 and U21 United States national teams and the Women's Premier Soccer League. After relocating to Lexington, she began her coaching career in youth soccer. She is a National Strength and Conditioning Association certified strength and conditioning specialist, certified personal trainer, multi-directional speed instructor, and certified speed and agility coach. She also holds a National D soccer coaching license. Jess is dedicated to using her own experiences as an elite athlete and her expertise to help youth athletes achieve their peak performance goals on the field and in life. So welcome to the Champions of Active Women podcast, Jess.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining me. I'm excited to jump right in here and hoping you can get us started by talking about how you got into sports.
So I started at the age of 5 playing soccer, and I grew up in a very active, sports-minded family where sports were at the center of our lives. Whether my family got together, for holidays, birthdays, or random Friday nights at my grandparents' house, there was always a ball involved. Wiffle ball, soccer, dodgeball, baseball. We'd even my uncles would even line us up in the cul-de-sac and have us run races to see, who was the fastest. It was always a fun, competitive environment within our family.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like it was just part of all the thing. Like it was just integrated into all the good memories that you have.
Yes, absolutely.
So did you have any active role models or people who really supported you in that journey with sports?
Yeah, so I had role models in my family that supported me, playing sports. Just to kind of give you an idea of like my athletic, my family, my dad was a competitive weightlifter. My mom was an elite swimmer who actually trained for the Olympics. Both my brother and sister played college sports. I had 2 uncles that played professional soccer, one for the Detroit Express and the other for the New York Cosmos. And then my grandfather played minor league baseball for the St. Louis Cardinals. And then, he coached baseball and soccer his entire life. So, everybody in my family was just invested in my sports journey.
You were not kidding. That is
right?
quite a pedigree there. My goodness. Some people say they had a lot of sports, but that I think tops the cake there. So tell me about what sports you found yourself in besides all the sports with all of your family. What sports did you find that you played and loved?
So I played basketball, soccer, softball. I was also a swimmer. But once I got to high school, my focus and dedication was solely on soccer.
And then you went on and played in college, correct?
Correct.
Yep. So tell me a little bit about, playing college soccer. What was that like for you?
Playing college soccer was just an absolute amazing opportunity. I grew up in St. Louis, and so traveling away from, the St. Louis soccer scene to Nebraska, where, Husker power was everything. It really was just an incredible opportunity. The fans, the level that I played at, overall, it was a great college experience.
So, you also received an invitation to play with the US national team and playing with the Women's Premier Soccer League during your summers. What did you learn about yourself through those kinds of elite soccer experiences?
I think I ultimately learned, like I've learned that ultimately, like your life is your responsibility. Whatever you want to do, it's on you. And as an athlete, you learn being in these situations, playing with the national team and, playing semi-pro, that it's go time. You have to seize these opportunities that are right in front of you. As an athlete, you have to rest and recover and stay hydrated and show up on time and take care of any injuries. And then as an individual, I think you realize that all those years of sports training, all the, blood, sweat, and tears, all the long hours of hard work, they've taught you invaluable life lessons that prepare you to, go forward and meet the, challenges head on.
So, now you find yourself as a coach, and I'm wondering what lessons you take from sport that you're now passing on to your athletes.
So I started playing soccer at the age of 5, and I played into my 20s. And I think the key lesson is to understand like that athletic development, it's a marathon. It is not a sprint. So, kids are changing and growing, and it's a process. Parents don't need to worry about, getting caught up in who's playing on the best teams at age 10. Every kid develops at their own pace. And the most important thing right now is that, especially the youth, they're having fun and they're learning.
Hmm. I think, people, we seem to get very caught up in getting good really fast, and I think lose that developmental perspective. So I love that point about development and the fact that it doesn't happen on the same timeline for everyone.
It doesn't. And kids blossom at different, like I think that even though I started at age 5 and was a good athlete growing up and I did well in my sports, I really didn't blossom until I got to college. It was like everything that had, added to, my puzzle, it really was a finished puzzle when I got to college.
Yeah.
I really blossomed. And yeah, I can't emphasize enough that just, give it time. Don't force these kids to be amazing athletes at age 10. It doesn't happen. There are good athletes, but it happens over time.
Hmm. I think it's such a good lesson and reminder for even me as a parent, just thinking through that developmental process and giving our kids exposure and allowing them to find things they enjoy and just keep at it and keep
Yep.
playing. So
Yep.
tell me about the athletes you're working with now.
So I coach at the Lexington Football Club, U8, U9 girls, and then I also teach my Xponent sports performance, my business, speed and agility and weightlifting. So I really train a variety of athletes in a lot of sports from kindergarten to college.
That is quite a wide
It
range
is. It is from
of
coaching
athletes.
to, yes, to the strength and conditioning side. It is.
So when did you know you wanted to be a coach?
So I felt like it was a pretty natural progression once I finished playing. I still had the desire to be part of the sport and really share my experience that I had growing up, and after being coached by some of the best coaches in the world, I just felt pulled to really get involved.
Hmm. So what's your favorite part about coaching, either, in your business or with the youth teams?
I think the best part of my job is that my 3 kids now are at an age that I get to train them with their friends.
Yeah,
That's just, yeah, it's neat to see them, develop and then see my kids' friends develop as well.
that's fun. What about the most challenging part?
Ooh, most challenging thing, I would say, is coaching probably an athlete through the disappointment of suffering an injury after they've done all the things right. Having, dealt with some major injuries in my career, it really gives me insight into how they feel, and it helps me provide encouragement and support. I think helping these athletes navigate that mental side of an injury can be challenging, because every athlete is unique and they handle challenges really differently.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned your own injury there. So let's jump into that topic. I had it later, but
Sure.
can you tell us about your injury and the process of what that looked like in the recovery?
So I've had many injuries playing sports, but the most probably devastating one was when I tore my ACL in a friendly game against the women's national team when I was training with the under 21 national team. This came at a time when I was on a scholarship at the University of Nebraska. I had to have surgery, rehab, all of that. Plus, then I had to redshirt another year at school. And as none of that was in my grand
Yeah.
plan.
Mhm.
So that really was difficult.
So what were some of the things or people who helped you get through that?
I really think my teammates at Nebraska and their whole athletic program. I was there for the rehab part of it, but I really think my family, coming from such a sports-minded family, and their careers, they really helped me get through it kind of on a daily basis. My older sister had tore both of her ACLs, one in each knee, and so I had her to talk to, and just she really helped me, keep a positive mindset and just focus on every day that you do rehab, you make progress and know that it's going to get better.
Mm-hmm. And it's long, right? That rehab process to get back to elite
Oh,
athlete shape is a long process, right?
yes. I mean, like especially ACL, they are not fast healing, and you really just have to, be patient and just, focus on the recovery and the rehab every day.
So when you think about that injury, in what ways do you think that shaped future physical activity participation for you?
Well, I don't play soccer anymore. I'm still a very active. I cycle, I weightlift, I swim. Occasionally I get to horseback ride. But as far as like the soccer, like playing soccer anymore, I do not.
Yeah. So it's really limited that competitive piece, but still able to do many of the other activities that you love.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, as a coach, you are working with many female athletes, especially in, your youth teams. And that means lots of people, especially those little girls, are looking to you as a role model. What are you hoping they learn from you?
I hope that the girls that I coach, I hope that I can inspire them to, be who they are, to embrace them, embrace who they are. It's good. It's okay to be unique. It's okay to be unique. They don't need to be, someone else to please others. So I really try to inspire them to embrace who they are as an individual.
I love that that's like a big picture hope, right? And it's not just
Yeah.
about them developing as athletes, but really a very big picture hope.
Yes.
And I saw that when I looked at your business website. I thought that you were taking a very holistic approach, right, to development. And I thought, as a parent, that was something that I really valued and thought was important.
Yes, you're correct. So besides the physical development of what I do, I take a more holistic approach in creating the right mindset is just equally as important. Setting goals, creating good habit, it's a must. And I also am excited. I engage my athletes in community service so that they develop a servant mindset and they understand that the importance of giving back to others.
I thought that was one of the coolest pieces. I'm like, oh wow, it's something that you don't see in a sports performance company very often or ever, I think, before.
Yeah, I do. I think it's really important to give back to others and really at a young age start developing that type of mindset that you give.
So, like I said, many of the athletes you coach are female, and I'm wondering why you think it's important for them to see and to have a female coach.
So I believe that it's important for them to see, a female coach, because in my long career of playing, I've only had two female coaches, and they were assistant coaches in college. I had male coaches the entire, 5 to almost, 19 or 20. And I believe that these young girls, they need role models who inspire them, who motivate them to succeed. And, I feel like female coaches can inspire these girls to stay active and be engaged in sports. I think that this then in turn breeds its self-confidence, discipline, self-belief that they can achieve anything that they really put their mind to. And it goes along with that mindset. If you can see it, if she can see it, she can believe it. And I've been where these girls are. I can relate and respond to them about girl things, relationships, body image, confidence, friends, periods, drama, all of
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Because these are challenges that can impact their, performance and overall well-being.
Yeah. So again, taking that really holistic picture, and as a female coach, you're able to relate on some of those things.
Yep.
So what do you mentioned role models, and we talked about you as a role model. So who are your role models, either in
So,
sport or in life?
so I think, so just growing up, I was always surrounded by strong women. My mom, my aunt, my grandmother, they were always there, to listen and support me. So I've been really fortunate that my role models have been family members. That's not always the case, but in my case, it's been, like I said, very close family members.
I love that. And they've been there since the time you were young, so you had their influence your whole life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I can call them on the phone and, get some of the best advice, and they understand because they also played sports. So it was definitely a win-win.
So thinking about the athletes you coach, what do you think are some of their biggest challenges to, kind of just navigating the world today?
The biggest challenge that I see for, young female athletes is that they are so busy. Their schedules are just jam packed. There doesn't seem to be a ton of time, just downtime, just to be a kid. They have lots of activities, pressure, deadlines to be places. When I was a kid, I had a ton of free time to do whatever I want. We're outside playing, it just didn't seem as crazy busy as the kids that I see nowadays.
Yeah. How do you protect that time to be a kid in your own family?
I definitely manage my kids' schedule, and even sometimes when we have something come up as a family that's important to us, at times we've missed things. We've missed a practice, when we've put family stuff over necessarily, over a sport. But yes, I definitely, manage my kids' schedule, and we are a very active family. So we are outside playing with our kids. We go canoeing, we kayak, we take walks. So just being aware of their schedule, and understanding, they are kids. They need to be having fun. They need to see their friends. They need to go have ice cream. They need to, go see a college game on a Friday night. They need to go to their high school football games or go to the movies with their friends. They need to have that social interaction as well.
And I'm asking for myself because I'm getting to this point, because it's with sports in particular that I think as a parent, sometimes it's easy to get swept up in the competitive sport environment. And so I think those are good lessons for me, and I hope someone else takes some key points from those as well.
Yeah.
And it sounds like with your own family, you've really started to integrate what you had as a youth, right? Those good quality memories that are all surrounded by moving together.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So what advice would you give to girls and women about playing sports or being active?
I would say that, find what you enjoy that keeps you happy, healthy, and active, whether it is riding a bike, basketball, golf. I think when you love doing an activity, you're having fun, you'll stick with it, right? For the long haul. And we all know being active, it has, numerous benefits, mentally, physically, emotionally. So just really finding something you love will really keep you engaged.
I think it's simple advice that I've heard from so many people, and it's simple is good in this case, right? It's go back to what you love doing.
If you're not enjoying what you're doing, then you're not going to stick with it. You're going to be like, this is boring. Like, I'm not doing this for the years ahead, right? Like, but if you love something, you look forward to it. And when you love something, then maybe you can get other people hooked on it, right? Hey, come with me to a cycling class. Hey, come with me. Let's go hike in the park. Hey, let's take our kids, right? Let's take our kids canoeing. We love going to, this place called Canoe Kentucky. We love, let's all bring our families and go do that. I think you can then, when you love something, you can kind of hook other people onto it, or at least engage them in that and see if it interests them at all. If it sparks an interest.
Share that passion with others. I love it.
Exactly.
So we've talked about a lot of different things today. What do you hope our audience will take away? A couple take-home points from our conversation today.
I want the audience to understand the importance and the opportunity we as women have, and the role that we play in developing these young girls to really just empower them to be the leaders of tomorrow. I think that's really the point that I want to get across.
Whew, it's a pretty big task.
Right?
Yeah, it is, but it's a good one, right? It'll keep us busy for a while. So if our listeners heard something, then they want to connect with you, how can they connect with you?
You can visit my website, xponentperformance.com. You can send me an email there. I'm also on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So they can reach out to me through those platforms.
Awesome. And you also have a book coming out soon, correct?
I do. Oh my God, I'm so excited about, so I've written a guided journal called Master Your Mind Game. That will be released soon, and it's geared towards the high school female athlete to help them achieve peak performance with a winning mindset. I can't wait to post about it and share what I've been working on.
Wonderful. So when should we be looking for those posts?
I think towards the end of September.
All right. So not too long to wait.
No.
So what else would you like to share with our audience today?
Just understanding, like I said, the role that we have and the impact that you can have on youth, and that, the lessons that they learn from us will be carried into adulthood. And, especially with the youth athletes that I train, that I coach, eyes and ears are on you. Eyes or ears are on you, and, they take in what they see. And I just think there's so much good in the world, and so much good that can be had from playing sports and being active, and really just developing a positive mindset.
Well, I love those lessons that you shared with us today, and I appreciate your time very much.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Champions of Active Women podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Active Women's Health Initiative and the Sports Medicine Research Institute within the College of Health Sciences at the University of Kentucky. This episode was produced by the Faculty Media Depot. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share with your social networks, or simply tell a friend about us. If you want to help us sustain the Champions of Active Women podcast, donate to the Active Women's Health Initiative at uky.networkforgood.com. For up-to-date information about our initiative, follow us on social media at UKAWHI. Thank you for joining us as we empower all girls and women to become athletes for life.